So children, ready? Now in this video we are going to study about the different kinds of microorganisms. Okay? So before getting into the kinds of microorganisms, let's classify the microorganisms on the structure of the microorganism, correct? On the basis of the structure. On the basis of the structure, the microorganisms or the living organisms can be classified into two kinds, that is unicellular or multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms are the organisms which have a single cell unit. Huh? What is a cell? The question comes, what is a cell? Cell is the smallest unit of organism. Huh? The smallest unit. The group of cells construct tissue. Many cells comes in contact and they construct a tissue. So many tissues construct a muscle, and so many muscles made a particular part that is called the flesh part. And the frame in which this flesh is giving a particular shape, that is the bone frame, and that bone frame is called skeleton, correct? But this whole structure is for the multicellular organisms, जहाँ खूब सारे cells होते हैं, है ना? Multi खूब सारे, uni one. तो unicellular, the organism, the microorganism, no big organisms can be of unicellular, okay? And multicellular, so many cells when construct the particular organism, particular tissue, the tissue then make the muscles, this is multicellular organisms. Microorganisms can also be classified as unicellular or multicellular, but here the multicellular organisms also having so less number of cells for their structure. So this is what the kind of classification of microorganisms on the basis of the structure, that is unicellular and multicellular. So in the earlier video we studied about the 5 different kinds of the microorganisms. That was the bacteria, fungi, protozoa, then algae and the virus. So let's discuss the bacteria first. Bacteria. As we all know by the title that microorganisms are friend as well as enemy for the humans or the other organisms. Bacteria are of two types, good bacteria, bad bacteria. So what the bacteria does? So what are the good bacteria? Good bacteria are the bacteria in which the bacteria helps the humans or the living organisms to survive or to get some good, like the bacteria that is called Lactobacillus acidophilus. The bacteria Lactobacillus acidophilus. Lactobacillus acidophilus is the bacteria which is present in curd. And this bacteria is responsible to convert the milk into curd. ये वो बैक्टीरिया है जो दूध को दही में convert करता है, correct? So this is a good bacteria. Similarly, we have another bacteria that is Rhizobium. Rhizobium is a bacteria which is present in the soil, and what it does, this bacteria is responsible for providing nitrogen to the plants in the form of ammonia. So this bacteria gives the ammonia nutrient which is very much essential for the plants. This bacteria gives ammonia to the plants, but ammonia is not in the appropriate quantity in the surroundings, in the atmosphere. So what it does, it uses the nitrogen in the atmosphere. It takes the nitrogen from the atmosphere. In the presence of oxygen, it converts the nitrogen into ammonia. Okay, and this whole cycle of conversion of nitrogen into ammonia in the presence of oxygen by the bacteria rhizobium is called nitrogen fixation, that you will study in your another chapter. Okay, rhizobium does the conversion of the nitrogen into ammonia with the help of oxygen from the surrounding. This is called nitrogen fixation, and this ammonia is given to the plants by this microorganism, which is very much essential for the growth and development of the plant. So these are the example of the good bacteria. Now we have some bad bacteria also, like Clostridium tetani. Hmm? Clostridium tetani is the bacteria that causes tetanus. Vibrio cholera is the um, bacteria that causes cholera in humans. So these are the bacteria which are um, very much harmful for the humans, and they cause diseases. So these are the bad bacteria. So we learned that uh, bacteria are of two types, good and bad. Good, like that means that microorganism that is friend to us, lactobacillus and rhizobium, and in the category of enemy foe, that Clostridium tetani, Vibrio cholera, Dipococcus, what we say, Dipococcus is a kind of bacteria that causes some diseases in us. So these are the bacteria which are good or and bad as well. Now it comes for the second, Dipococcus pneumonia. Dipococcus pneumonia causes pneumonia in humans. So second is fungi. Now if we talk about fungi, that is yeast, bread mold. Then you have penicillium and aspergillus. So these yeast, bread mold, penicillium, asparagus, these are the examples of the fungi. Correct. Yeast, when you make the batter for dosa, डोसे का घोल बनाते हो, बैटर बनाते हो, so इस डोसे का घोल जब आप बनाते हो and you keep it for a certain duration, for a certain period of time, and when you observe that batter back again, you find that the batter has raised from its earlier structure. That is the yeast which is useful for the making of that particular dish, and that yeast is also good for the process of digestion. Similarly, bread mold is a kind of fungi which is required for making cakes, pastries. Penicillium is a kind of fungi which is also used for certain medical purpose. Asparagus is a kind of fungi. So these are the examples of fungi. Now it comes to the next category of microorganism, that is protozoa. The third is protozoa. Protozoa, amoeba, paramecium. Okay. Amoeba, paramecium. Amoeba is required for the plants which are hydroplants. जो पानी के अंदर plants होते हैं, it is required for those plants. Okay. So amoeba and paramecium are the examples of protozoa. Now it's come the next is the fourth one, that is algae. Okay, algae is another kind of microorganism With the examples, we can discuss about Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is a kind of algae. Then you have Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra. Spirogyra. These are the examples of algae. So in this video, we have studied about the different examples of different categories of microorganisms. So in the next video, we will study about the many other microorganisms which are harmful, as well as some of the microorganisms which are useful for us. Thank you so much.